Okay, try number two. A little bit goofy. Uploaded without audio. Oh well. The point of the video that I had posted was about how unbelievable it is that we're told for years that democracy is dying, that the sky is falling. And I'm inclined to believe it. Just look around us, look at the state of the economy, the ever increasing wealth gap, the stagnant wages, and this upcoming bill, the big bill, as it's named, that will do irreparable harm to the United States, to the poor and working classes, as well as our judiciary. Uh, Really, the point I was making is that we are angry and we're told to be angry, rightfully so. But then our representatives, people like Chuck Schumer, where's the anger? He goes up in front of a podium. He speaks calmly. I mean, he's an older guy, but I've seen Bernie Sanders. I've seen others have plenty of anger when they speak, plenty of obvious passion. But we're told to be angry, and we are angry. Many Americans are angry. Because let's be honest with ourselves. The Tea Party movement that created MAGA, that was born from genuine anger. Sure, some of it is obviously disgusting, or at least at the time it was. I think it's much worse now. But there was a real feeling in this country, and there still is, that we've been abandoned, that we're not represented, not truly, even if we vote for people, oftentimes the same people over and over again. Uh, let's go into that a little bit. If you look at red voters, they vote consistently against their best interests. Most red voters tend to be on the poorer side. They tend to be working class. I count myself among that group, um, even if I don't vote red. And many Democrats, especially those who live in bigger cities, are also in those groups, and they certainly don't vote red, but they have the anger too. And so they vote against their best interests. They vote for people who are going to cut Medicare, Medicaid, people who are about to throw 14 million people off of Medicaid, 14 million Americans who need it to survive. They're about to lose their coverage, and they're going to be essentially banned from participating in the open market that the Affordable Care Act created. A bill which, by the way, was flawed upon creation, was not the universal health care this country actually needs, has been scrapped for parts repeatedly by Republicans and conservative judges with an axe to grind. And yet Democrats still pat themselves on the back for passing that bill 15 years ago. And this is sort of the crux of what I'm talking about. They don't represent us either. We vote for Democrats like Chuck Schumer in my home state, New York. We vote for Democrats in the House as well, who just simply do not represent us. Even when they say more positive things, more progressive things, they don't represent the anger we feel. They don't represent who we are as hardworking Americans or disabled veterans or whichever group you want to take. People who need help, people who work hard when they can, and when they can't, wish they could. And I'm supposed to be represented by some milquetoast guy giving a speech in front of a podium, calmly, collected. That doesn't represent the anger I feel, that I'm told I should feel by the same people. It doesn't work out. And the math isn't adding up. How can we expect these people to truly fight for us if they very obviously don't have the passion to fight for us? They don't really care. I mean, at the end of the day, most of them are rich as well, just like the Republicans. 90% of Congress was millionaires before they're elected. Certainly, there are some great exceptions like AOC, etc. I think Jasmine Crockett does a great job from her home state in Texas. But, really what we see is a lack of representation from people who obviously don't represent their constituents in terms of Republicans. And then Democrats who are either living in the past or not reality. They're just not living in reality. The reality is that more Americans are living with their parents and their kids because they can't afford to support themselves alone on a full-time job. The reality is that my generation, millennials, are the first generation in American history that will have less wealth, less real estate than the previous generation, than our parents and our grandparents. The reality is that programs important to each and every one of us, because guess what? Even if you aren't on Medicaid, even if you're not on Social Security, those funds that go to people on those programs end up going to other programs and businesses and things that we use. It's as simple as that. And when they go out of business because they have lost their customers or their patients who are on these programs, guess what happens? We lose it too. None of us are going to be free from it unless you're rich, in which case you're fine. Not only are you fine, you're about to get the largest tax break essentially in American history, matching the 2017 tax cuts, because they're making those permanent with the big bill. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, we're not represented. We're never represented. Our anger isn't represented, and it feels more and more like there's no one on our side. And historically, you know, certainly for the past, I would say 40 years, 45 years, specifically to 1980. I wonder what happened then. We have not really been represented. We've been represented by, we have elected, rather, people who do not care about us on either side of the aisle. And I don't equivocate. Republicans are astronomically worse than Democrats. Let's be very clear. We could have 1 million John Fettermans representing us across the country, and that would still be better than any Republican, essentially, at least in 2025. You know, but, I mean, there was a report that Democrats were saying that they don't want to live or die by immigration as an issue. Protecting not only American citizens, but people already protected by courts who have been essentially kidnapped off the streets by brown shirts. So they don't ultimately care. Maybe their only focus is getting reelected, in which case they failed at that. But they don't care about our lives, about the things that are happening to us. They don't care about how life is harder. They can't comprehend trying to support yourself or your family on less than $40,000 a year. They just simply can't. Elise Stefanik, my representative, who I sincerely hope loses next year, she, like many Republicans, like many Democrats, like many politicians in general, was lucky enough to be born to a pretty wealthy father who owned his own business that she then got to work in until she, you know, got to the point of running for Congress. And so I think we all need to be angrier even than we are now, which should be truly mad. There should be rage in each and every one of us about all of these issues affecting us, our families, our neighbors, our kids, you know, the local school, the local hospital, the local nursing homes, everyone. We should be angry about those things, and we need to be angrier at all of our politicians, all of them, every single one of them, even the good ones, because the good ones who are doing a decent job, they can be doing more. I promise you, they can be. You know, you have John Fetterman, who feels like he was bullied into showing up for his job. A man we're paying, Pennsylvania, but really all of us are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to, for him to wear a hoodie and shorts and cry to reporters about having to show up to do his job. Because guess what? He wanted to spend more time with his family on Mondays. Fine, we all have that urge. Except most Americans don't have the option. We don't get to pick and choose when we show up to work because we'll get fired. We'll lose our job, we'll lose our house, we'll lose more. So we need to be angry at them. We need to make sure that they're doing more. The most passionate people I've ever heard were these people saying outrageous things, I think, to the average person. Outrageous things on the phone to their congresspeople's office because they heard that their Social Security is going to get affected. They heard that their Medicare and Medicaid is going to get affected, and their Medicaid is because they're about to kick 14 million people off, like I said. And until the anger is represented, we're never going to feel like there's anybody on our side. Because hope is one thing, but rage is harder to pretend, I think, when you're a politician. Because you can act outraged by anything, but, I think people are decent at telling sincerity. If someone's going out in Fox News crying, like, some Republican politician, so angry that we can't say Merry Christmas anymore, that doesn't come off as genuine. But when you have someone who seems genuinely, sincerely pissed off about our rights being taken away, about the judiciary being weakened, about our economic present and future being irreparably harmed, I think that's way more representative of what the average American feels right now and has felt for a long time. Because this isn't new. It hasn't been new for decades, and it's not going away.